tell you, did I? And if people think that we're going to stop fighting for our freedom and liberty, they got something coming.
Look at that. Look at that little intro there. Look at that. All fresh and spicy and
fiery.
stuff.
Fiery. I'm Latina, man. I got to keep up the image.
Little swag going on, huh?
I know it. Our media team is great, and our media team just really does a good job. But listen, Oh my God, guys, listen up, stand up. Welcome back on Stand Up, Stand Out America with yours truly, Bianca Gracia, La Conservadora Tejana. Also, obviously you guys know me from Latinos to Trump, Latinos for America First, the whole deal, the America Project. I'm kind of like a little bit everywhere. I haven't seen you guys in 3 weeks. I took a very good break. So I just want you guys to know that I'm so glad that we are back. And I got a dear friend with me tonight. I've got BCPreacher in the house tonight, Friday night on Stand Up, Stand Out America.
Hey, we're just trying to get the party started. How are you doing, Bianca?
I'm good. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Blessed. I'm blessed.
Yeah, you know what? Absolutely, man. We are definitely blessed, right?
Yeah,
definitely blessed.
Yeah.
Listen, I invited you on. We've kind of run in the same circles, been at a lot of the same events, met a while back.
Yep.
You've been in the trenches. I've been in the trenches. We just saw each other again. I hadn't seen you for a while, but we saw each other again at AmFest out in Arizona.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good event. I was impressed. I'd never been to AmFest. And so I was very impressed. There was a lot of energy in the room, a lot of energy with just the synergy. The energy around that whole event was pretty phenomenal, I thought.
Right.
And so, but yeah, it was fantastic. So I was so glad to meet your wife finally and just kind of hang out with you guys and then some of our other friends, right? Bryson and Topher and MAGA Hulk, MAGA Pit, Gold Pill, what is it? Gold Pill. I mean, like there was just so many people and it was just so exciting, energetic. I just had come out of, I don't know about you, but this whole election cycle in November, it was a little discouraging or disappointing in some sense. Now, even though I knew it was coming, but the reality, of it going like, and then you see the same stuff happening again. So then you get to AmFest and then you're like, okay, well, maybe it's not so bad, right? Like, I don't know. It's like people were not in any kind of defeated, it's just like, everybody was like just pumped up to keep going. And it's pretty amazing. So, but anyway, tell our audience a little bit about you because, I've never had you on the show. So tell me a little bit about you, what you do, and, just kind of, I just want you to introduce yourself.
Yeah. So for me, I'll start with first things first. You guys can find me at every single platform, Getter, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the BCPreacher, all one word. So I kind of got started with my own platform stuff right as the riot started back in 2020. Like when the whole George Floyd thing started. I live in Portland, and the first night it was like Memorial Day weekend. I went downtown and just started going live during the riots. They broke into a mall in downtown Portland, good 5,000 plus people downtown just going nuts. And obviously Portland, Oregon caught the center of attention throughout America for like 3 months. I was down there every night, mostly live streaming to the best of my ability, because a lot of these people on the left, especially with Antifa, they knew who I was. And of course, body shape and how you walk. I mean, they pay attention to all that. So it can get hard to disguise yourself. It's almost like a thing that you have to lose weight. So it wasn't going, you do. I mean, somebody who has some meat on them, you got to lose some weight to fit into them.
You got to become like a little soy boy, huh?
You do have to, you have to start drinking your lattes and cross your legs. And I'm just.
Oh, good Lord.
So anyway, things, proceeded as we went into Trump, and I just started traveling the country, going to Trump events, going to his rallies, talking to patriots. And back then, it was cool back in 2020 going into the election season because you had so many Trump rallies across the nation. You had boat parades, you had caravans and things like that. And then obviously with what happened in Portland with one of the patriots getting shot by Antifa, and unfortunately he died, that became even more news in Portland. And so I was just covering a lot of this stuff from CPAC type of things, Trump rallies, to Antifa and the left, rallies that they have or whatever they do, so that's kind of what I've been doing. And then in the midst of that, doing my own shows and, reporting on news and stuff as well.
So, I just went on to YouTube
Mm-hmm.
to see if I could pull up your page. It doesn't come up, but other people who have been interviewing you obviously did come up. So hold on, because I wanted to go and pull your profile.
Mm-hmm. So I can tell you what happened with that. In December, they gave me 2 strikes on one day. So they gave me they gave me a strike with Joe Kent from CPAC from last year.
What?
Then
with Joe Kent.
With Joe Kent. Then the next day, they gave me a strike for a video from J6, which was 2 years ago. That's been up on the platform. Then about a week later, I got my 3rd strike, and they took the channel down.
Where's all your work?
I have it backed up.
But is there anywhere that we can pull it up?
I haven't uploaded it to the new YouTube channel, which is the BCPreacher. Okay. All one word, the BCPreacher.
It doesn't come up though. Just letting you know.
It don't. The BCPreacher does not come up either. Yeah, they have it suppressed. So.
Nope. It's not coming up. That's what I typed up first. I'm finding people that have interviewed you, but not your channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. But see, we was just talking about that before we came on the air, how they're suppressing all our channels. I mean, even on Facebook, with like you were saying, your Facebook page, mine, they suppress all these pages and platforms.
Well, what you need to do though is do you have a Rumble page?
I do have Rumble. Yeah. The BCPreacher.
The YouTube copies or Rumble copies your YouTube videos. Did you know that?
I did know that, but I don't know if I have it linked. I don't think I have it linked.
Because this is what I have found out. If they take you off of YouTube, it still remains on YouTube. I mean on Rumble. On Rumble.
Okay. I will.
Because I really wanted to show some of your work.
Mm-hmm.
And I just saw some of your work though. Where did you post it? Were you live somewhere? Because I was looking somewhere and I saw some of your work and I wanted to show that.
I did post something today. It wasn't live though. It is on the BCPreacher. It is all one word. I just posted something today. I just posted a clip today on the BCPreacher YouTube channel.
This is so crazy. I'm telling you, it's not coming up.
It's not coming up. Wow.
BC. I know how to spell. Listen.
You do THEB as in boy, C. Oh. Okay. All right. All one word.
All one word.
All together. Yeah.
All one word. It's not coming up. Yeah, I'm seeing you like on some other stations, like it pulls up for me tonight. It says we're live.
Right.
Anti-gay preachers arrested after. That's not you. Chit chat with the BC Preacher, Oreo Express.
Even if you scroll, they must have it way down someplace.
I was scrolling down and I haven't been able to locate it yet. I really, because I know that I've seen some of your work.
Right.
And I was trying to find it to pull it up because I wanted to show like some of your lives. Have you been going live on Facebook or Getter or anything?
I've gone live on Facebook and Getter, which is still all the BCPreacher, all one word.
Okay, maybe I can find you on there because it won't pull up anything on YouTube. So
yeah.
Anyway, because I really wanted to show people when you're talking about all the stuff that you were doing, right? I wanted to bring that up while you were talking. But anyway, keep telling us that. I'm gonna find something.
You're gonna find something. I'm, you know,
about yourself.
I do the school board stuff because being from Portland, you know, it's a blue city, which, you know, my opinion on blue cities, I think they're important because we can expose and show what's actually happening in these metropolitan cities. There's people, there's population, and there's stuff to do, especially if you're involved in ministry, because what's happening is a lot of people want to escape. But I'm like, if you escape, in my opinion, you're running from stuff. I'm like, if we're going to be these warriors and frontline soldiers, we need to go into these fights. We need to go into these battles. So for me personally, I kind of thrive off of it, especially with ministry that I do and wanting to talk about, you know, God, especially to the Rainbow Crew. I'm like, I'm all for it. I'm like the Rainbow Crew. Yeah,
the Rainbow Crew.
The Rainbow Crew, man. You know.
Oh my God! So I'm listening to you. I'm trying to find. I'm trying to like. Anyway, just.
So anyway, I'm just saying I'm all for. You know, I'm not saying I like the politics in the blue cities, but it's where stuff is at. It really is. You know, I mean, rural towns. I mean, yeah, if you want to go there for your safe haven to escape, I get it. But the action is in the blue cities, and obviously, what we keep seeing across the nation is the blue cities somehow keep winning, right? For whatever reason. So again, school board meetings. Man, I've been to the border a few times, and that's where I think the first time we met.
Right.
So
let me ask you something. You're talking about the school board meetings. Now, we have seen a lot about the school board meetings and a lot about people getting arrested, parents getting arrested. Have you ever been arrested? Have they come after you? I mean, tell me.
I've never been arrested. I've never been arrested in regards to this stuff. What's happened to me, I did work for the city of Portland for 3 years. Antifa and the left were constantly calling the city. I remember when I first got there and I got called into the boss's office at one of the bureaus I work with at the city. And he told me straight up, he's like, we are getting a lot of complaints about you. Your name is all over city council.
Oh my God.
In Portland. I'm like, okay. He's like, there's a lot of people that don't like what you're doing out, whatever you're doing. He's like, I don't care what you're doing when you're out, but a lot of people are complaining, wanting to get rid of you. He's like, you have a right for freedom of speech. Just don't talk about the stuff here at work. And I was like, fine. Cool. So, that's, and then eventually, I did get fired because I got the exemption last October, like a year and a half, you know, a year ago, whatever. I got the exemption, and then March came around and they lifted the mask mandate in Portland. Then they implemented at my job that we had to go for weekly testing twice a week. And I said, I'm not going to do it. So I got fired in May 5th of last year.
Crazy. That's crazy. I found
Look at that. Look at that.
Look at that. Exactly. See, the Black conservative preacher.
Yeah. You know what, Bianca, they actually do still oppress Black people. It took you a while to find that.
It's real, man.
It is real.
It's real.
It's real.
The oppression is real.
Yes, it is.
You know, a friend of mine said, hey, we need to keep everything documented and because I wonder, she goes, if by the time we're like 70, 80 years old, if we're going to be able to go back and ask for reparations because because they made us get the, what's it called? She calls it clot shot or whatever, right?
The clock shot, right? Okay.
So she goes, I wonder if we'll get reparations for that, you know, the clot shot. And I'm like, because we were his minorities, right? We were guinea pigs. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know, but I'm purebred, pure blood. So I don't really care. Ain't happening. So, you know, it's crazy. But yeah, it took me a while to find you. I'm telling you.
Yep.
I
Yep.
had to, and then Facebook, I had to really scroll down. So
Yep.
I wanted to just kind of come in here, and scroll down and really show some of your work. Tell me where to stop that you'd like me to show something you've done. Look at you.
Yep.
Ooh. It looks like you
So I mean, that's the video I put together on New Year's Eve. I was down in Las Vegas. A lot of street preachers go out to Las Vegas every New Year's Eve. They've been doing it for 30 years. So I was down there just filming, doing that live as best I could. The reception kind of gave away, so I couldn't. Um, so I mean, there's just different things. I mean, I've obviously, because of my faith, I do post a lot of stuff on there about faith. If you scroll back up, go back up to this top, right down a little down, go back down, right there. There's a good one I recently just did.
Okay.
So there was a billboard in Portland, for protecting babies. Antifa went and vandalized it. So on this one myself, I was talking about basically, as patriots, not running from democratic cities, because this is what happens. It says what it says, kill them kids. So Antifa went up there and put on that.
Let me see if
kill,
it'll let me play it. Hold on.
yeah.
Here's the message. Stop running. Stop being afraid and stop escaping blue, democratic, demonic cities. We as believers who are spirit-filled, led by the Holy Ghost, believing in Jesus Christ, we are called to be the salt and light in a dark world. We are called to be ambassadors. We are called to do the Great Commission. If we continue to run to safe spaces, to these little red towns, who's going to be the voice for the voiceless? The Bible says to count the cost. Like they say, resist. What's up, Christians? What's up, patriots?
Yeah.
Look above. This is a billboard that was placed on the corner of Northeast 16th and Northeast Sandy Boulevard in Portland, Oregon over New Year's weekend. Here's the message. Stop running. Stop being afraid and stop escaping blue, democratic, demonic cities. We as believers who are spirit-filled, led by the Holy Ghost, believing in Jesus Christ, we are called to be the salt and light in a dark world. We are called to be ambassadors. We are called to do the Great Commission. If we continue to run to safe spaces, to these little red towns, who's going to be the voice for the voiceless? The Bible says to count the cost. Like they say, resist.
Yeah. So I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I muted myself. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was so that it wouldn't interfere. But
Okay.
anyway, so I was like trying to find my mute button. But that's disgusting.
Yes.
And you just saw the is it Nader? What's his name? The darn congressman that was basically, they were all upset about the whole abortion thing or something, up on Capitol Hill this week.
I didn't see nothing. I didn't see it. I know there's stuff going on Capitol Hill, a lot going on right now, but
yeah, he was sitting there, basically kind of the same thing. Like, they didn't want to give funding to babies if they're born, after they're born or whatever, if they've got
right.
issues. They didn't want to
Right.
give funding to the babies. I'm like,
See,
who does that?
right?
Like,
Why wouldn't, like,
you need to send
seriously?
all our money to Ukraine.
That's life. Why wouldn't you want to give funding to a little baby that had issues? I don't see. Because they'd rather kill them off, because it goes along with their agenda and their plan. They'd rather kill the babies off instead of trying to save them, because we're overpopulated. The funny thing about the overpopulation thing, what's crazy, because like myself, you've traveled across the nation, Bianca.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How much land is out there?
Oh, tons
of land across this nation, and they're talking about how overpopulated we are.
Mm-hmm.
That's just our nation. That's not even the world. This is just our nation. We're talking. I mean, even in one state, you can go over one state and you're like looking down. You're like, oh, that's desolate. There's nobody there.
Exactly. There's still plenty of land all over this country. I'm telling you.
Yes, there is.
Plenty of land. It's insane with what we've seen of our society, and pretty much no morals or ethics or values, principles anymore, and I've just learned a lot, and I know we've talked about this, you and I,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about everything that we've seen across the country. One of the things that I remember discussing this with you is that was really hard for me was the fact that when I was in Georgia and realized how disconnected people are with political realm. Like what we know, we're like over here fighting for freedom and liberty.
Right.
But the average American is so not connected, and they don't know anything that's really going on. For crying out loud, in Georgia, they didn't even know there was a runoff.
Right. Right.
I know there's a runoff.
That's weird.
I mean,
When you in your own state, you don't even know that there's a runoff in your own state.
correct. That's what I'm saying. Like what I saw in Georgia was insane, and I thought based on what we see on social media, we're on the mainstream media and the not so mainstream media. I mean, you think people are aware of what's going on, right? Because you watch the news at some way, level, whether it's like I said, cable, not cable, podcast, whatever. People can't be this untuned, not tuned in. They just can't. I just couldn't comprehend it.
But and I think we did touch a little bit on this the other day when we were talking, and I was thinking about this more when you have kids and because like most of these TVs nowadays, a lot of people have moved away from the cable, and you have all these networks. You have Hulu, you have Netflix, you have Peacock, you have a host of so many different networks that are on smart TVs.
Everybody's doing their own series. Yes.
Right. And, and then you think about the people who do have jobs and who are working, unlike the golden days, I'm going to say for me and probably even like yourself, people aren't coming home and sitting down watching the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock news, or even 11 o'clock. Right. We're not doing that no more because of, I want to get home and I want to catch up and binge watch or watch my series or watch my show. So I can see how a lot of people probably are not tuned in. And then if you have kids, they're wanting to play the Xbox or PlayStation. So that takes up TV time.
Right.
So I can kind of see how a lot of people are not tuned in. And I don't know, like myself, I've gone places intentionally wearing shirts to see if it'll get some sort of reaction.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't even know or care.
No, they don't.
And that's surprising as well.
Like unless you go into that fight, right? Then you have cameras all over you and they want to make you look like, oh my God, he's a rainbow hater or whatever. Like, but if you just walk around any supermarket without an incident going on, nobody gives
they don't
pay attention.
No.
Pay attention.
No.
That's why I'm saying people are not as tuned in.
Yeah. And like I said, I do this stuff intentionally to see like if somebody's going to say, you might get a couple looks here and there, but for the 80%, 90% of the time, there's nothing. And I've gone even to the gym wearing a PB type of shirt, and no one says nothing.
Nothing.
And I have one I'm actually wearing right now. It says "Stand down, stand back" from when Trump said it.
Right.
It's the PB logo.
Right.
I've gone to the gym working out in that, and no one says not even a look. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, the stand down and stand back was something that was so big when he said that.
It was racist.
It was racist, white supremacy, everything.
And so you're walking around your community, and because there's no incidents going on right now, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. And you're thinking like, okay, is it really nobody cares, or is it really that everybody's so tuned out? And it really is that everybody's tuned out.
That's what I'm thinking, is that I don't know, I know we talked about this, this whole voter fraud, election integrity, irregularities. I don't care what you want to call it.
Right.
You know, traveling across the country makes me wonder. It cannot all be. Not everything happening cannot be all blamed on voter fraud. It just can't. Because
It can't be. And I don't know if you want to go back to, I don't know if I have it on my Facebook. I don't know if I do. So on election day here back in November, there was my mother, my sister, and my wife did not get their ballots in the mail. Now, my mother is registered Republican. My wife is registered Republican, obviously. And then my sister is registered Democrat. So my mom and my sister go to get their ballots at the voting place, the Multnomah County headquarters, whatever. I went down there, and there was a line for people to get their ballots that didn't come in the mail. Most of the people, I'm talking about Multnomah County in Portland, Oregon, most of the people there had masks on and were Democrats. So even when we're talking about this whole voter fraud thing and all, or whatever, it's not all what we think it is. There is some legit,
there's definitely irregularities.
There is irregularities.
But I don't think it's what they've made it out to be. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm saying that when you're on the ground and you're saying it life experience, something isn't adding up.
Right. Something isn't adding up. And that's the thing that what I was noticing that day when I went down there is that, okay, something isn't adding up. Is there something going on? Yes. Now, do I think it's as big as what we have said? I kind of want to say no, based off what I saw there in a Democratic city when there's a line wrapped around the building in the heart of downtown Portland. And majority of the people there are Democrats. They weren't Republicans, they were Democrats. So I'm like, okay, for one, it made me see for myself that, okay, the ballot thing is probably just as equal on both sides. There's Republicans not getting ballots and Democrats not getting ballots.
This is why this issue should be bipartisan. And if you remember back in 2016 and before, the Democrats were consistently trying to tell us that there was election fraud.
Right.
And we didn't listen.
We didn't. And I was gonna say, and with this story, my sister wasn't even going to go get it. She didn't even care. She didn't know none of the people on the ballot. She didn't care. So she went to go get her ballot, and she actually just said, "Tell me who to pick." And of course, I went Republican because she really didn't care. So if I wouldn't have been passionate about what I was believing in, she wouldn't even vote. She wouldn't even cared. So think about that. Think about because what happened was it made her go out of her way. Her whole day was met. So most people don't want to go out their way, go down to an election office to go get a ballot. They don't care.
Well, think about this. My son voted for the first time. One of them, he's 18, voted for the first time. Honestly, he's not politically, like, he doesn't care about politics at all, right? He's 18.
Right.
And, it was the first time. So I said, I'm going to assist him and sign there's like a law, you have to sign like a waiver, not a waiver, but whatever it is. Anyway, I signed a paper, to assist him or whatever. And he literally told me, he's like, "Mom, I don't know any of these names." And that's because his mother is like deep, deep in politics because he doesn't care. And so, he knew maybe some of the big names that get mentioned on TV, but
other than that,
that he, has had to be with me. But even he's met some people and he didn't remember their name. He was like, the ballot is so overwhelming. He's like, when it came to judges, when it came to the local officials, and even some of our statewide officials knew none of them. None of them. Not one name, none of them. So I thought, okay, think about it. The only people really going to vote are the ones that are really in tune of what's going on, right?
Correct.
The ones that really, really are following politics and doing their civic duty.
Right. And and I can even testify to that because I started voting, I think maybe the first time, I know it might have been it might have been around Bush senior. But even then, and even during Obama, I was only going for like the top tier names.
Right.
I would even for locally, I'm like, I don't know who this is. I left it blank. So for most people, you're right on what you're saying. They're only going, especially for presidential run, they're only just talking about vice president and president, and that's about
They
it.
go for the ones that they've obviously have been in the news cycle every
Right.
single day, right? But the rest is they don't know. And a lot of people, believe it or not, don't vote straight. Well, there was an argument here in Texas that it was straight ballot, straight ballot. I don't see that made any difference this last election. I don't think the straight ballot had anything to do with it because I talked to tons of voters that are just not politically tuned in, right? And so I've had people tell me, they're like, oh, I literally just vote for anybody who has a Hispanic surname. I'm like,
You're like,
what?
Right.
So I'm like, and so they're like, yeah, I'll just wherever I just keep going back and forth, or sometimes because they don't know. They were like, I don't know who these people are. I don't know who these people are. So when I've traveled, that's why I'm saying I'm so in awe. I'm like, something isn't adding up. I know because I've run for office myself. I know there's irregularities. There's problems with machines. We know that. There's problems with mail-in ballot and all of that. There's definite issues. No doubt about it.
Yep.
But I'm not sure that I'm now believing that it's as bad as everybody has made it out to be. I think it's like strategically done by each party now. This is what I think. I think is Steve Bannon talks about the uniparty. So I think the Democrats do their little, things in their area that they care about, and the Republicans do their things in their area. And that's why they don't want to touch election integrity on either side, because they lose power if they really all were to say, oh, no, we're going to have to deal with this, right? Because it is a problem. I think that all of them have been in on this little game, right? That they're probably sworn to secrecy behind some closed door about, don't worry about it, the numbers, whatever their little magic numbers and however they decide they're going to do things, right?
Right.
Over here and this over here and this over here, and you just run this campaign and it's going to make it look like whatever, and you're going to win. Because in this country, I believe there are some selections and not elections. But
I do too.
The point that I'm saying is that there is definitely, these are some selections going on, but I'm not sure that it's like across the board. I think it's strategically done in certain cities. I really believe that. And I'm starting to believe that even the people at the top, literally, I live in a Republican top state. I think that the top makes deals with the Democrats and says, we won't touch that area. You don't touch this area. I think they've been operating this way. I don't know. This is what I'm starting to really tune into, because I'm on the ground talking to people all the time that I don't even know. Just random people, and I'll ask questions. I ask questions all the time. And it's crazy to hear some of these answers. Unless they're completely politically tuned into what's going on, they just don't know. Don't know.
And it's funny that you say that, especially when you talk about the whole area thing, because I experienced that myself this past election in Oregon with the governor's race. And because there was someone who was trying to get into to become the governor for at least the Republican Party, the candidate, and he lost anyway. So his method actually worked. He was talking to a guy by the name of Don Powers, who actually knows Carrie Lake, and so this guy Don Powers actually went to Carrie Lake's campaign, and they used some of Mark Fielman's strategies that he was doing in Oregon, but he didn't win to become the candidate for the Republican Party. Christine Drazen did. Well, Christine Drazen had the money Mark Thielman was more grassroots, but his grassroots stuff helped Kerry Lake. So I started asking Mark Thielman, I'm like, well, Mark, like, why isn't Christine Drazen, who's the Republican candidate for governor, why isn't she going into Portland, Oregon? It's the biggest market in the state of Oregon. Why is she not stepping foot in there and campaigning in the Blue City? You know, and he told me some stuff. You know, I'm not going to say what it was, but it lines up to what you're saying. Because these people, they're not, and to me, Bianca, it don't make sense, because why wouldn't we go in to the enemy's territory? Kind of like what I was saying with some of my videos. Like, why wouldn't you not go into the enemy's territory and hope that maybe you could turn some of the blue people, at least turn them purple? Yeah. You know, so.
They don't want you to. I worked for the party. They didn't want me to go into the blue areas. I went in there anyway. And now 6 years later, after I planted seeds, watered them, you know, now they're flipping seats over there. And
wow,
I'm pretty sure that's why they're, you know, the party, you know, they don't like me because I'm outspoken, but they don't like me because I don't play by their rules.
And that's why they don't like a lot of people. Yes.
Yeah, they don't like you if you don't play by their rules. But, you know, here's the thing, though. I will tell you this. You know, and someone on my getter says the elections are decided by 7 to 8 cities across the nation. You're absolutely right. That's what I'm saying. These places are selected. They're already selected.
Right.
And I will say, though, that one of the most important things, though, is because I'm saying this. Okay, I'm not saying that election fraud does not exist or none of that. I'm saying there are irregularities. But this is why this election integrity issue is important for all Americans. This is not a Republican and Democrat thing. It's even independents. It's everybody. Think about the independents who've left the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, but they can never win.
Right. I know.
Why? Why is it?
Why?
Because they don't have money.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. The Independent Libertarian Party, whatever, they have money. They have money. They run campaigns, right? It's not because of that. It's because there's this election going on.
Right.
You know, and so, you know, so everybody, whether it's Libertarian, Green Party, No Party, you know, Patriot Party, Blue Party, Red Party, doesn't matter. This election integrity business should be everyone's concern, because in this country, we were given that constitutional right to protect our vote. Yeah. It's the one thing we can depend on. It's one of the most sacred things in our Constitution. So that we can have fair and balanced elections. Everybody should care about it.
Right.
And so I know we talk about these things. And I will say, for those of you out there listening, because I think a lot of people talk, but no one ever gives solutions. And I don't know about you, Quincy, but I will tell you, solution for me is, okay, look, we've gotten through the election. Right now, legislative sessions are going on. It is extremely important. I'm I have voted Republican, right? So, but say that I lived in a predominantly Democrat area.
Right.
A lot of our Republicans won't go to the Democrat to talk to them.
Yep.
Okay. And the Democrats won't come to the Republicans to talk to them either.
Right.
The people on the ground. It is extremely important. You have to understand that if a Democrat or Republican, and if you're on the opposite end, are voted in, once they take office, they're no longer supposed to be a Republican or Democrat. They're supposed to represent every single constituent.
The people. Yeah.
So if you are in a Democrat area and are a Republican, if you're in a Republican area and it doesn't matter. You need to seek out your elected officials, and you need to go to them and you need to advocate as a constituent and say, these are my 3 priorities: election integrity, border security, whatever else that you want to make sure. But we've got to get election integrity right in this country, period. I don't care how it happens, but we have to make it happen. Okay. But one of the things that we have to do is we have to start showing up. I just came from Austin yesterday. And the session started, here in Texas. And this is why it is so important for people to show up. And hey, people work. I get it. But here's the thing. one of the things is, okay, everybody was going to rally and come from all over the state of Texas to say we don't want any Democrat chairs, right? There
Right.
are Republican held, you know, what is it? Legislators, Republican House and Senate and top. Why are we giving away Democrat seats? They don't do the same to us. Okay, they don't. So we were going to all go on Thursday. So what they did is they changed the rules and they pushed everything through to vote it all in on Wednesday night before midnight, because they knew we were coming. So on Thursday, they walked in, they like shook hands, and they gavel, 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 gavel. And then they all left and they disappeared out of the building and they left their offices. They didn't want to talk to the constituents.
No way. But they always do that. They always do that.
So this is why call to action is important. You don't even have to worry about going in a big group. Get a group of 5 or 10. Make it a rotating in your community. Gather people. Say, hey, can you go this week? You go this week. You go this week.
Right.
Whatever. Split it up in shifts, right? Continuously go to their offices and bug the hell out of them.
Right. It's an inconvenience for them.
You tell them over and over, because listen, they may plan when you're coming, but you need to be unannounced. They don't need to know when you're coming. You just show up and be like, I'm here with 5 friends and we're telling you right now, we're holding you accountable. These are the things that we want to see you champion. If you're not championing this, and I don't care what party I represent, I should be knocking on every single person's door that is in my district, period. Right. If you're a staunch Republican and you're living in a Democrat area, that Democrat, you should be knocking on the door and telling them it is crucially important to me for us to have election integrity, period. For your sake, my sake, and everyone's sake. End of story. Make it happen.
Right.
You have to put the pressure on these people. They're in office right now. They're in session. And we need to make sure that this happens. And we saw a beautiful display of what democracy really looks like when they were trying to get Kevin McCarthy into to vote him in for Speaker of the House. Those 20 people that held out as long as they did.
Right.
Democracy.
Yeah. Yep.
Democracy.
Yes.
What's funny is the Republicans on our end were like, oh, this is so shameful. And oh my goodness, it's so embarrassing. I'm like, shut up and sit down. Democracy. Yes. You know what? This is how the left wins, because the left wins with the minority.
Yes.
Those 20 people, had it been on the Democrat end and it was a minority people, they'd win. That's how the rainbow people won. That's how the Satanists won. That's how the Roe v. Wade verse won. Everybody wins with a little minority that screams the loudest, right?
Yes, because they're passionate. They're passionate.
They're passionate. And it's like those few do not represent everybody, but guess what? Because they stuck it out, it happened. Yeah. And so those 20 to me are heroes. I don't care if stupid, McCarthy was inconvenienced. I will tell you what, I was loving every single minute of it because he is so big-headed, right? He just cried in an ego, and he walked in like, I'm going to be the speaker. And then when they kept holding out, at first he was just like, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not going with attitude. Right. But after that 8th and 9th and the 10th and the 11th, when they finally broke him down, he had to humble himself. Yeah. He had to go make those deals and whatever it is and say, okay, you know what? What is it going to take, right? Yeah. And I was really impressed, Quincy, with his speech. I don't believe it, but I was impressed because he wasn't, listen, that other dude on the other side, you see that showboating?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 we did this. And they're like, woo,
Right.
And so I was like, he's so grandstanding. I don't even believe you. That's a show up there.
Right.
Your name is Jeffries from New York. Total show. Grandstanding. He sounded like Obama. He's like a baby Obama. And, whatever. And so, but when Kevin McCarthy came on, and I don't like him one bit, right?
Right.
But when he came on, I did see that there was some humbleness in him delivering that speech.
Yeah.
And so far, it's only been a week. He's delivering on some of the stuff.
Right.
But there's only so much he can do. We don't
He
hold
can
us
do true. Right.
So only so much we can do, guys.
It's only going to go so far. Right.
Yeah. So it was very interesting to me, though, to see that whole dynamic play out. But guys, it was democracy. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to debate things. They're supposed to say, hey, we don't want to send this much money. Hey, what's this line here on this thing? I'm sorry, you put a bill on my desk that's 4,000 pages and you want me to vote on it today and you want me to vote on it tomorrow? That's nonsense.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's not governance at all.
You know what, Bianca? So thinking about what you said about we need to be in these people's spaces. So I was back. I did the whole truckers convoy thing and the people's convoy, whatever it was, the trucker thing across the United States. So I was back in DC in May, and there was a day that just kind of like had some downtime, and I actually went up to Capitol Hill, and the Senate or the House, they were in there. It was AOC in them. So is she the Senate? I think
No,
AOC.
She's House.
She's House. Okay, so the House was in session,
Mhm.
right? Because I saw Matt. Right, so it was the House because I saw Matt Gaetz too. Exactly what you're saying, and I know there's enough Republicans in the state or the region of Washington D.C. The Capitol grounds is open. So these people are coming out of the house, coming down the stairs. You can stop and talk to them and be in their face. It's open grounds. The Capitol Police are there. They're not saying nothing. Matt Gaetz is walking down. AOC is walking down. You see Nancy, and you can talk to these people and run up to them. And there's no they don't have Secret Service all around them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just saying it's a good opportunity, especially if you're conservative, Republican, or even Democrat, whatever. You want to go talk to them, go talk to them. It's open grounds.
It is. But Quincy, the one thing is that if you really want them to hear you out, you really need to you can't attack them.
No, right. You can't.
You generally have to say, I'm very concerned about this. This is what I'm concerned about. And I'm a constituent and I, represent so many people, whatever, or don't represent so many people. I represent a household, whatever, represent a workforce, a workplace, whatever. Right. But you have a genuine conversation. And I think anybody you approach should talk to you.
And that's what I mean. They will. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. The media's done a very good job of pitting us one against each other.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying to go attack them, but what I'm saying is that it's open game that if you approach them the right way, they will spend 2 minutes talking to you right there on the spot as they're coming out to get in the cars. Yeah.
Yes, correct. Absolutely correct. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So I think that, for the most part, that's what needs to be done. We need to consistently be calling our legislators right now, regardless. Listen, guys, if you're a Republican out there right now and you're living in a Democrat stronghold, you need to be calling those Democrats. They're your representatives.
Right.
They're representing the office and they represent the district. And whether they agree with your viewpoint or not, there has to be enough of you standing up to it till they finally go, okay, look, let me tell you, for instance, it's got to work, right? Because Robert Kennedy Jr. Is like a real person who talks about the vaccines, right? Big pharma. He's dedicated now his life. But if you hear his testimony, he tells you he was like in the Water Authority District or something. He was an attorney representing the Water Authority District. And he said that, that's what he did. But these mothers were relentless and kept trying to come and tell him about these toxins or whatever it was that something to do with pharma, right?
Right.
And he said they didn't give up till they finally one day showed up at his house. And he said these three moms showed up at his house. They said, we're not here to harm you. They handed him over a file and said, we just want you to read it. That's all. Just please read this.
Right.
That's all we want you to do. He said that day, he said he took it and he was like, they left. And he was like, man, these moms are relentless, right?
Right.
So he said, I went ahead and read it. I went ahead and went through all of the documentation of everything they had been collecting, and that changed his life forever. He left the Water Authority District and dedicated his life to going up against Big Pharma and the vaccines and vaccine injured children and all of it.
Wow.
And that's what he's now spent his life doing. So, here it is. If it's again, they don't know until you make them know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because and we're going to tell you from Quincy and myself, being out on the ground, how disconnected people are.
Mm-hmm.
We may be sitting in our house and thinking they should know. They should know, but they don't know, because if you're not knocking on their door, if you live in AOC's district and you're a Republican,
mm-hmm.
you need to be going to AOC.
Yes.
You need to be saying, I'm a constituent and I want to sit down and I have concerns. And these are my concerns.
Yeah.
And if there's 300 people that continuously go and tell her over and over and over and over and over and over again that there's an election integrity problem, right?
Right.
She's eventually going to
fold.
Try to listen a little bit until you break them, right? Until you break them, until you get them to look at evidence, to look at affidavits, to look at whatever and say, I just want you to read this. Explain this to me.
But you have to be in front of their face. You have to go and be in front of their face.
Until you get them to just say, read this. And if you don't believe that there's an election problem, please explain this to me.
Right.
That's
and
it.
with the election problem, I think where we failed at is that we made it so much about Trump. We made Trump the focal point and the center point of the election fraud stuff or the election stuff, that I think that's what made a lot of Democrats, or most of the Democrats, not even care about the election stuff. And because to be honest, the whole thing kind of more backed up the QAnon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you, especially in the timing when it came out with the election fraud and what was happening with the 2020 elections, that was at the peak of the QAnon stuff.
So we're in a warfare of the misinformation, disinformation, and there was people trying to scatter people all over the place, so we couldn't get the job done.
Correct. And we was talking about this election stuff and the fraud and everything, which is valid, but it was like in the gumbo mix of Trump and QAnon and everything else. So people was like, okay, it's just conspiracies. They didn't care. Nobody really took it serious and cared.
Yeah,
and now we're 2 years past it, and okay, it's serious. But now even us, we're starting to look at it in the right type of way. We're not so much focused on just Trump. We're just focused on the election integrity and things that are going on in general, which I think that's what should have been done in the first place.
Correct. But that's what I'm saying. And so even if, for those of you that were staunch Hillary supporters in 2016 and you were screaming election integrity, and if you live in a Republican area, you should go tell the Republican that you're concerned about it. Because, hey, if you believe that Hillary Clinton's election was stolen in 2016, we cannot be all echoing the same thing. We know. I've worked on election integrity stuff. So I've seen affidavits. I've run my own elections in my own precinct. So I know that when you look at the machines, when you look at the system, and I think about if someone was going to do something here, what could be done?
Right.
You hear stories about what's going on and you go, could this be possible? Running an election, I can tell you, yes, it is. I've heard people saying, oh, in Sheila Jackson's district, there's election workers who've worked in Sheila Jackson's district and actually saw this happen. They say, oh, the precincts that are not so busy, they're run by a family, little family, a mom and a brother and a daughter or whatever. Everybody's working it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is they got downtime. Ain't nobody showing up because it's not busy precinct. They don't have voters, right?
Yep.
So what they do is they would say, hey, we already know a list of people who are not going to show up to vote. They don't ever show up to vote. So what they do is they, go through and they say, okay, here. And they each take turns going to the thing and voting for that person.
That's crazy.
That here in Texas. Okay. So I thought to myself, I said, okay, look, if that was really going to be done, because I've run an election, right?
Yeah.
Would it be possible? And I'm like, absolutely. Because think about it. You can't have cameras. They don't allow you to have cameras. So there is definitely ways to compromise the system. Absolutely.
Right.
I was in, now my precinct was very busy. It's nonstop. It was very, very busy, very busy all day long. But if I was downtime, I could see how somebody could totally do that.
Yeah.
And
Easily.
we've heard testimony at Commissioner's Court that they've done it. We've heard testimony at the Capitol that they've done it.
Yeah.
And yet our elected officials do nothing about it.
Right.
So it is really time for people to not give up and to say, okay, look, guys, it's more than just running for an election, voting for somebody. Now is the real work in the downtime.
Yeah.
Now is the real work to seek out those elected officials, to seek out somebody who's got to run for office. If you're not happy with who's in office, now is the time to start the groundwork right now.
Yeah.
This is it. No one's coming to save us. They keep telling us no one's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves.
Nope.
And violence isn't going to do it, but real conversations will. You have to get your point out. You have to present something. You're going to have to be more effective in everything that we do. We're going to have to come out with new strategies. We're going to have to be smarter, and that's just civic duty, period.
New strategies.
I mean, we are fighting evil, guys. So we have to get smarter and we have to come up with new strategies. We're going to have to find ways to be a little bit more effective than what we have been in the past. We've learned that. We are losing our country.
Yes.
I'm telling you. I'm sorry, even if you're a Democrat out there, and trust me, I don't have anything in common with Democrats right now, but they should just be concerned because listen, I tell myself, okay, look, I mean, if I was talking to a Democrat, I'm like, look, this is what I would say to them, right? And say, look, what happens if Republicans were to take control of everything? Say we took control of all the counties, all our local House, Senate, state. What if we just run the scenario?
How would you feel?
Yeah. What if you said we were stealing your elections, right? You're going to start saying we're stealing your election because we own everything.
Right.
Would you want to be blown off or would you want to be listened to seriously? Like something's wrong with this picture, right?
Right.
Like it's like, okay, look, if there isn't problems, prove it.
Right.
But you won't even allow it in the
They won't even prove it. Right.
They won't even let anybody present real testimony or real evidence to say, prove us wrong. Tell us there was nothing here. And be transparent about it, for crying out loud. Don't try to keep hiding stuff because then we really don't trust you. Be transparent. And that's going to be, I think, what the final thing, Quincy, that will shut this whole thing down. Prove us wrong then. If there's nothing wrong with our elections, prove us wrong.
Wrong. Yeah. Yep. That's definitely it. That's definitely it.
I mean, seriously.
So,
we're trying to focus on it and just prove us wrong. But don't keep dismissing it in court. Don't keep dismissing it in the media. Don't keep dismissing it on the local level. Say, okay, you know what? My goodness, these people are not going to shut up, right? So why don't we go ahead and everybody should do a freaking audit all over the place with, let these people that care about this stuff come and look at this stuff and let's get to the bottom of this.
Get to the bottom of it. Right.
Let's get to the bottom of it. Be transparent. Prove them wrong. There was no election. Nothing. Everything was fine.
Right.
You can't not let people present stuff and say, oh, no. Everything is fair. Really? You're going to tell me that everything's fair?
Especially when we know it's not. Especially when there's so, like you said, so much evidence and we've experienced it ourselves. I mean, like I said, even I saw it firsthand. Like I shared with you. So I mean, they need to look at that stuff. I mean, even if it is mail-in ballots or whatever, if that's the issue, then stop the mail-in ballots. It's not that difficult. But something obviously needs to be done. I agree, 100%.
Right. Well, there's something else that you mentioned earlier, and I want to talk to you a little bit because we've spent a lot of time on this issue particularly.
Right.
But I want to talk to you about you said, you know, when you first met me, you met me at the border.
Mm-hmm.
The border is kind of one of my fortes.
Yes.
We're talking about election integrity, border security, right?
Yeah.
I work for the America Project. And so, you know, border security and election integrity are the forefront of everything we do, and
Mhm.
rights, freedoms, medical freedoms, you know, parental freedoms, mom's freedoms, whatever. We are about freedom and liberty, right?
Right.
And so one of the things that we will be advocating for, and obviously my organization, Latinos for America First, definitely advocates for, it's part of our policies, right? Is all of the same things that America Project is definitely working on. And so we've taken on this new venture, and I talked to you about this, Border 911.
Mm-hmm.
The border has been a disaster. Okay, it's been a
Yes.
disaster. And
Right.
I'm sorry, but it's a joke to have
Yeah.
Biden come over here, clean up the street.
He wanted to sweep it, just a little sweep.
Listen, they cleaned up the street. He didn't even go to where there was problems and issues. They moved everybody away. And he said, everything's fine. What the heck are you talking about? You know, what reality are you living in? Seriously.
Yeah.
And it's so, you know, and I know you've been to the border.
Yep.
And I've been to the border.
Yes.
And we have friends who consistently report from the border.
Right.
There's an issue and a problem.
There
Our
is
border
an issue.
people are telling us, our ranchers are telling us, everybody's, you know, telling us. So
Yeah.
American Project filed several lawsuits already against the Biden administration. And all we are telling the Biden administration is do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Do your job. Interestingly enough, we filed 2 lawsuits, two in Texas, one in Arizona, one in California, and I believe New Mexico is another one. I'm not sure on the New Mexico, but interestingly enough, get this. So in Texas, we got 2 Republican judges.
Uh-huh.
One of the districts in Texas, the judge said, oh, I don't want nothing to do with this. And he passed it off to someone else. So we looked up who the new judge was in federal court, and it was a Clinton appointee. Okay. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So same scenario in, I believe it was Arizona. I can't remember if it's for sure Arizona or I don't know if it's California. Anyway, same thing happened in the other state. We had a Republican judge that got it.
Yeah.
And they said, nope, they recused from it and said, I don't want this case. And they gave it on over to a Democrat. You know, and that was an Obama appointee or whatever.
Right.
How is that fair?
It's not fair.
How do you sit there as a judge? You're supposed to be nonpartisan. You're supposed to be non-biased, none of that. You're just supposed to look at the rule of the law. That's it.
Right.
That's
right.
It. Rule of law. That's it.
Right.
How can you sit there and say, I don't want anything to do with it and give it to a Democrat?
Because again, it goes back into what you were saying earlier, the deals and all these things that are designed.
You know, unless the judge is like, hey, clean up your mess. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
What makes you think that there's not money involved in that, or backdoor deals or whatever? Same type of thing. What makes you know, they're allowing this stuff to happen under who? So they probably have to pass it to someone who's in that same affiliation in order for it to be good. Because if that Republican judge goes against it and tries to do something, that Republican judge within that little small town, that county, is going to go all the way to the top, all the way to the White House. You know, so I'm sure there is some deals going on somewhere.
But there shouldn't be, because
shouldn't be.
This is the federal judges who are not supposed to be partisan, you know, nonpartisan, non-biased. They're supposed to just follow the rule of law. Period.
Correct. But even, you know, you think about this, Bianca, like, they are. But think about this, like, from judges to even the people who are counting votes, everybody has a bias, no matter if they claim they're unbiased. that's just that, and especially where we're at today in our society, in our world, with so much political stuff that's out there and things that are morality that's coming into the picture of the politics and everything. Everybody who is unbiased still has a bias.
Right. Right. I want you to see something. We are going to start a series, the Border 911 series, and I'm going to share my screen here real quick. We are starting, our first one is going to be in Arizona. Second will be here in Texas, Alpine, Texas. Phoenix will be in Phoenix on January 28th. I believe it's Saturday, the 28th. Yeah. So, anyhow, you need to definitely listen. If you are in the Arizona or area or whatever, please come out and, support this effort, because we're going to have some really good people that are going to present and talk about the real everything that's legitimately happening at the border with the human trafficking, child trafficking, fentanyl, the fentanyl deaths, the reality of the cartels and how they own the border now. And
yes,
right. So it's about, and it's not just what is happening, because we already know what's happening. It's what can you do about it? The call to action, and how are we going to fix this disaster when the administration won't face it? The governors won't do anything about it. I mean, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. We've been invaded in the United States and nobody seems to care. So, so with that said, I want to tell you, I want to play this video here for you.
Okay.
Hold on.
Division are doing all they can to eliminate the crimes impacting the state, but
Let's see if I
also the rest of the nation.
start this again.
What they can tell you.
Hold on. Can you hear that? Can you hear it?
Yeah, I heard it. Yep.
Okay, hold on. Let me play it again.
As the cartels and the alien smuggling organizations have become more advanced than ever before, the men and women of the Texas Department of Public Safety's elite aircraft division are doing all they can to illuminate the crimes impacting the state, but also the rest of the nation. One thing they can tell you is that what's happening right here impacts all Americans. I'm Jason Jones with Newsmax.
So, okay, so I want to show you that one. And oops, hold on a second. I've lost my account there. Can you still see my screen, Quincy?
I can. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Let me go back down to this one. So Chris Begard is going to be part of our event as well. And here's a little something from him.
I'm Chris Burgard, and I'm tired of picking up dead bodies in Texas. I'm tired of seeing children trafficked across our border. I'm sick to death that we now have 266,000 unaccompanied minors in this country since this administration has been in charge. But I'll tell you what I'm excited about, and that's the America Project and what they're doing with Border 911. Border 911 is a series of live events coming across the country, bringing you rock star warriors like Victor Avila, Jason Jones, Steve Montenegro, and Tom Homan. These are warriors and experts on the border that will show you the reality of how bad the border is and tell you exactly how it can be fixed. These Border 911 events, it brings the border to you, and they rock. God bless the United States. God bless the America Project. And check out Border 911.
So Quincy, did you hear that one?
I heard it. Yeah, I heard it.
Okay, cool. So we've got, Tom Homan, Victor Avila, and Jason Jones, and obviously Chris Begard, Steve Montenegro, several others that are going to be on this tour and a series of tours. So people be on border911.com. If you go to border911.com, let me actually see if they've updated the website, because they just did another, and I'm talking about, it is an awesome promo video on this event. And so I know I talked to you about it, but guys are going to need to make sure that, that you all share this, that you talk about it, that you tell people that, the America Project is doing this event. And it's going to be
Yeah.
important for people to get
Yep.
involved. So let me see here. Can you see that?
I see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so there's our graphic right there. Our event is January 28th on
28th.
Saturday. Yeah, it's a 12 to 6 event. And so it looks like, okay, there it is. There's our event details. When, where, it's in Herberger Theater. It's downtown Phoenix, Arizona. So it tells you, you know, obviously Tom Holman is one of our main speakers. And you know, VIP tickets, and there's very few VIP tickets. It's only 20 of VIP tickets are going to allow, and
Okay.
then the other tickets. So I think what general admission is $30, guys, for an all-day event. There is a private dinner for those VIPs, I believe, and then of course there, you know, VIPs, but it's, again, only 20 people can get VIP. So $30 for an all-day event.
That's pretty good.
Is a really good deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So looks like they're going to start building out, you know, the event page here. And so there it goes. Yeah, here we go. We've got the Phoenix, Arizona right now.
Yeah.
We're going to have Pine, Texas. Look at that. February
Look at that.
25th, guys. Lafayette, Louisiana, March 11th.
Nice.
Philadelphia, April 8th. Detroit, Michigan, April 22nd. San Diego,
Wow.
May 6th.
May 6th.
Yeah. We've got
Cincinnati.
We've got Cincinnati. What was that? May 20th.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, June 3rd. Atlanta.
You're not going there, Bianca. You're not going to Las Vegas, okay?
Oh, we're going to talk about that. It's coming. It's coming, Quincy. We're going to talk about it in a minute. I'm going to go over the schedule. So Las Vegas, Atlanta in June, Miami in July, Denver, July. We've got
wow,
San
look at this.
Francisco, July. We've got
Portland,
Oregon. In August, baby, we're coming to Portland. September 9th, we will be in Boston. Washington, D.C., September 23rd. Seattle. October 7th. Long Island, New York, October 21st. Pensacola, November 4th. Pittsburgh, November 18th. And New York, December 16th. Guys, that is a series of events. Yes, look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
All of those places that we are going, just so that we can bring the truth about what's going on at the border and educate people about the realities. And
you know what's awesome about this? Because this goes right in. This goes right into 2024.
Yeah, let me. Yes. So here, let me show this. Let's see.
That's crazy. Yeah. Wow. That's a good video.
Isn't that awesome? Hold on.
Yeah.
Look at that. Almost done. Whoa. Right?
Yeah, that's a good video.
That is one of the other promos that they just did. Obviously, it's on our page. Every state is a border state. So see, it's join us to take action on fentanyl, human trafficking, border security. You know, again, the information is here. You know, and here we go. Here's the upcoming events again. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
About 13 or 14 events for the year.
Yep, about 13, 14 events for the year. And this looks awesome, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any questions you may have, go to info@americaproject.com. Obviously, you know, I honestly, listen, I work for the America Project. We had a meeting today, and I didn't even know that this was updated already. So they've done a phenomenal job on that Border 911 website. It looks awesome. It looks great.
Nice.
Beautiful.
AmericanProject.com.
Yeah, AmericaProject.com. I'm very excited about this series. I think we're going to start doing some really good. You talk about, it's not just about having a rally. It's not about just talking. It's really going to start engaging. It's like more of a town hall. We want to do more of a town hall where people can ask questions and
Right.
call to actions, opposed to just up there talking about. But we got to really educate people about what's going on, because Quincy, what we found out too is that, especially during the election cycle, we know that I live in Texas. I know there's a border. I called it an invasion from the get-go, and they all got mad at me. But I can tell you right now that I, for a fact, know that when you go further in, I talked to people in Georgia when I was there doing the Herschel Walker thing. They didn't believe me. They were like,
I know. Most people don't. It reminds
pay
me.
attention to what's going on in the news.
Right. And most people don't know. It's kind of like the whole Antifa stuff or going into a blue city. People don't believe it until they actually experience it firsthand and actually see it with their own eyes. It's hard for people to comprehend, to understand, to even believe it. So I can understand with the border, because I didn't believe it either when I went there. I was like, no, I was blown away, Bianca, when I went down there those couple times, and I saw this stuff, and I'm just like, this is unbelievable, like happening right there at the border, and you're watching it with your own eyes.
Yep.
Watching it.
And they literally, the cartels have this operation to a T. They know exactly how to use, the poor people, right?
Yeah.
And they funnel
them. They know how to they know how to use us. They know how to use us.
They know how to use us. Yeah.
So
It is insane with what's happening, and the fact that we have an administration that's in denial. I mean, they purposely are doing this. This is orchestrated. I mean, the only reason, there's two reasons why you're not touching it or not doing anything about it as a politician is, number one, now you've allowed the cartels to fully invade you. So now they're either going to come kill you, your family. They'll find you. They'll find you. Our Border Patrol agents are in fear. They will find you. They research where your kids go to school. They know everything.
Right.
They are high tech. So either now you're sleeping with the enemy because they're going to get you.
Yep.
Or you are just letting it happen because you're looking to gain from it in some way.
Right. In some way, yeah.
There's no other excuse. I'm sorry. There's just no other excuse.
Right.
So, I mean, Quincy, you've been down there. Tell me a little bit about what you thought. I mean, about what you saw.
What I saw when I was down there is I saw our National Guard escorting and helping people cross the river. And on the other side of the river, you see the deals taking place with the cars going in and out, and you hear the gunshots, like right there, like just, you can see it. Of the turf wars or the cartel, whatever it is going on, like right there, and nobody cares. It's just like part of society. It's just part of
everyday life now.
Yeah.
Part of everyday life.
That's what was crazy to me the most is seeing that and all the busyness, and then watching these people just cross the river, walk up onto our banks of America, onto our shoreline, and then it's like somehow they fall into order and they know what to do. They get in these single file lines and get escorted to a check-in place. Then they get up from the check-in place. They get a few things, some cards, and they get on these buses and they're transported to who knows where.
And one of the silly things is, if you remember, all these governors were busing people.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is that they didn't. It's all orchestrated too. Okay.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So they literally say, we're going to send a bus up there, but they don't just grab these people, throw them in a bus, and send them somewhere. They literally say, how many of you are going to Miami?
Right.
How many of you are going to Washington, D.C.? And they say, okay, we have a bus right here for you.
Right.
Plane right here for you. You know what really disgusts me the most is that when you go to the airports and you see the illegals walking around with their little I do not speak English.
Yes.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
and they're everywhere. They're
Yep.
everywhere.
Yep.
They don't go through TSA security like we do. They go around.
I've never noticed that.
Oh yeah, I have. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen it. I've been traveling a lot, so I've seen it. Yeah.
Right.
They don't go through security. They get escorted around.
Escorted around.
Mhm.
Wow.
I'm like, have you freaking lost your mind?
Wow.
And I don't see it at every airport. It's only but it's happening.
Right.
It's
Okay.
happening.
Wow.
Yeah. I was coming back from where was I? Was I in Phoenix? I might have been in Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yeah, I saw on the American Airlines side, I saw these adults clearly were not the parents of all these kids.
Right.
Kids were all dressed alike as if they were inmates, but they weren't. They were wearing sweatpants. All of them were wearing sweatpants. The gray sweatpants, the kind from Walmart, right? The sweatpants, sweatshirt.
Just go get something at Walmart.
They were all wearing the same thing. All of them.
Yeah.
None of them looked alike, and all different ages.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the woman said, hey, I'm going to pay for these ones right here. And the guy was like, I'm going to pay for these. I'm going to pay for these. So they were trying to tell him, go through and pick what food you want.
Right.
So they were in line getting their food. But let me tell you, they weren't the only ones. So they have escorts, right? Taking these unaccompanied minors.
Yes, they do.
Across the country that were not their children. And I guarantee you, they didn't go through security like the rest of us did. They went around.
Wow.
That's
sad.
Yeah.
National security, right?
Yeah. What's the point of having TSA there for now?
Exactly. Anymore? That's what I'm saying.
It's just a job security for all these people is all it's become. But that's the reality of where we're at, man.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that is what's crazy. So, Quincy, you and I talked about something else as we were talking about the border and we're talking about all this stuff. Right. You guys saw those exciting cities there.
Yes.
Right. There's some cities and you and I talked about doing something. It's going to become a reality.
Is it?
Yeah, it's going to become a reality.
Okay, good.
So Quincy and I
you're not going to do it now, are you? Are you going to do it now? Are you going to say it now?
You don't want me to?
Go ahead. I didn't know if it was in concrete, so I didn't know if you wanted to wait until it was in concrete before,
I'm pretty confident.
Oh, really? Okay. So, this is news. This is news to me then. All right.
I already proposed it. I'm pretty confident.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, all right. Then I'm excited now. So go ahead.
I'm excited.
Okay.
You better help me with this. We're doing this.
Okay.
So, guys, we have some exciting news. Okay. And yes, I'm pretty confident about this. So out of those cities that you guys saw for Border 911, there's a few of us that are going to get together and we are going to put an event before that Border 911 event. So the night before, we are going to hold an event and our vision is, right, Quincy? Our vision is we're going to have a concert. And our concert's going to be rappers, artists, comedians, and we're just going to have a great lineup. We're going to choose 4 to 5 cities that we want to really go to, and really just go do a cultural awakening, right?
Right, because that you and I were talking because one of the things that the Republican Party is missing and where they failed at is getting in and tapping into culture. They're not getting the youth. Turning Point USA is probably one of the only things within the Republican Party that's tapping into the youth. The thing about it is that a lot of the youth, and we know this from the Democratic stars and music artists that are out there, especially with music, it's pop music, it's hip hop music that's reaching the youth for the most part. And so, unfortunately, the Republican Party has not been using the stars and music artists that are relating to the culture. they're doing other stuff, and they're just not reaching the culture. So Bianca and myself, we talked the other day, and we're like, we need to start really utilizing like the Bryson Grays and the Tophers.
Isaiah Robin.
Yeah, all the, yeah, right. Jimmy Levy, all these people.
Levy, yep. High res.
High res, yes. And even some, there's a couple UFC fighters and all that who are conservative. We need to start using these people to help influence culture, because that's what the culture is, especially nowadays. So Bianca and I came up with this stuff and started thinking like, we need to utilize this and really start to reach the youth more, because we are fading away, and we see what the Republican Party has been mostly is older people that really don't even care or who are out of tune with culture.
But I'm excited because I think it's going to be fun.
Yes.
I want to be like, I get her and they're like, oh, I'm going to Disneyland. You're hilarious. I'm watching these. I just love you. Is it Boker guy? Boker guy. Okay, Boker guy. You've been engaged all night. So, but listen, no, I'm excited because it's going to be fun. It's not the stuffy. It's no politics. No politics. I don't want to talk about politics. Okay.
Right.
Don't talk about politics. We want to go and give these people platform to perform somewhere that, and we just want to go and have a great old time and put them on a stage somewhere, right? Because
a lot of them deserve it.
They deserve. Listen, Topher's like Billboard Grammy winner, or what is it? What is it? Not Billboard. Is it Billboard? Top Billboard?
He's been Billboard. Bryson's been Billboard.
They're all been Billboard. I'm like,
yeah.
What is going on? What, and so, the Republican Party doesn't embrace them.
They don't.
RNC doesn't call them and say, hey, we're going to go do a concert with you. No, they don't care about that stuff.
No.
So I'm like, we're going to go do that stuff, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to engage with the community. And we want to make sure that these guys are out there, and women, as well too, any artist out there that we can highlight and say, we want to have a concert, and, we're going to come to one of the 5 cities in that whole list of cities. And Quincy and I already looked at a few. So, we've named a couple, and we've said, possibly Philadelphia or something, or
I think that was one of them we talked about.
For sure. Detroit.
Yeah.
You go to Detroit.
We have to go to 8 Mile. We have to go to 8 Mile.
I mean, come on.
Right?
We got to Detroit.
Right.
So, we got to, hey, we can reach out to Kid Rock. Maybe he'll help us.
See?
Right?
Maybe.
I mean, it's just all about making sure that these artists get out there and that their music is heard more out, because everybody knows their music. They wouldn't be getting billboards if nobody knew who they were.
Correct.
We just need to get a conservative movement, but without the politics in it, but just let our performers and our artists be who they are and showcase who they are and have a good time and just get to meet other people we've never met before.
Yeah.
Where venues that, but the venues, wait till we get those venues.
Wait till we release the venues.
It ain't gonna be no high dollar venues. It's gonna be just we're going old school. Quincy.
We're going old school. Okay.
Hey, Quincy, you may have to bring out your
wikis.
You have to bring out all your, not your rapper. What is it? Your DJ.
The turntables. Yes, the turntables.
You may be like, you're gonna be like, all right, emceeing the whole thing. I'm ready for some excitement and fun of our own, in our own MAGA world, whatever you want to call it, without the politics in it, without all the speaking and da.
Right.
So listen, we're planning this thing. I haven't even talked to the artists. But
I know, huh? It'll happen.
Actually, no. Actually, I take that back. I actually have talked to the artists in the past and said, we should do this. We should do this. And they've always said they're up for it.
They're down for it.
Want to do it. They want to do it.
It'll be easy to get them.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's gonna be awesome. And you gave me I'm not gonna talk about the ideas about where we're gonna do these things.
Right.
We're just gonna find out, we're gonna find the locations, and we're gonna go at it. We're gonna do it's very simple, not gonna make it complicated and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Sell tickets at the door. Not complicated. not complicated.
Right.
Listen, I don't want to be in a line like I was and I love Project Veritas, but remember that line?
I do remember that line. I do remember that. I remember what you did too at that line.
Tell them what I did. Tell them what I did.
Tell them what you did. Well, this line was also down the block and starting to wrap around the corner. And there's this VIP line to get in. Well, I'm a regular person, Bianca. I don't know about yourself, but I'm just a regular person. So I'm standing in the regular line almost to the corner, and I see Bianca walk by me, and she's like, "Come on!" I was like, "Come on, where?" Like, just come on. And so Bianca drags me up to the front. And now understand this. At the time, my wife was in the car because she saw the long line. I'm like, "What are you doing, Bianca?" She's like, "We're going to go in." I'm like, "How?" She's like, "Just watch." And she just started scooting her way in there. And she was like, and she showed the people, and we got in. I'm like, "Bianca, I got to call my wife." And my wife's ankle was hurting, so I had to call her, and she comes running. And I'm like, how'd you just like scoot yourself up here and cut it at everybody? And she's like, "Well, I'm Bianca of Texas." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, she did it.
Standing in this line. I was like, "What are you doing? Let's go. We're going to the front."
And then who was right there with us was Topher, so it kind of helped out a little bit because Topher was right there.
No, Topher couldn't get in either.
Oh, that's right. Topher didn't get in either.
Us.
That's right.
He was trying to get in.
That is right. Yep.
So Bianca just went on, moved on, Topher out of the way, everybody, and I'm like, come on, what are you guys doing?
Oh man, that was good. That was good.
Listen, I ain't got no time for that. I'm like, I'm not standing in a line. Sorry, I'm going in front. I got my ticket. I'm going in.
Right.
All right. That's it. And that's all it took. And nobody told me anything. I was just
they sure didn't. They didn't tell you nothing.
And they didn't tell you nothing. They looked at your ticket and said, "Okay,
and
search this.
Go.
We're in." We're like, boom. You're like, "How did you do this?" I was
I'm like, how?
We just walked
because that line was that line was deep. That was a deep line.
I wonder if anybody turned, said, "We're not waiting in this line," and left.
I was wondering that too because it was moving very, very slowly.
Very slow. Very, very slow.
And it was cold.
And it was very cold. Listen, I didn't know that Phoenix got that cold. It was.
I didn't either.
But we had some good times in Phoenix at AmFest. I'm really glad I went, and I got to meet a lot of new people I did not know. Super high energy people, and I can't wait to be with them again. Quincy, it's been just awesome. I mean, I've gone way past my hour.
Past your hour, I can tell.
Past my hour. But no, but you listen, we've got some very good viewers on Getter. I love my Getter family. I've missed you guys on Getter. I've missed you guys much on Getter. I needed a big break, guys. I really did. I worked.
That's because you was still recovering from AmFest. That's why she needed a break. You was still recovering from
No. Listen, I worked my butt off last year. My butt off. I was hardly home. I was on the ground, engaging with voters, just really doing grassroots work. And it was very tiring. But I will tell you that, it took a lot out of me after Georgia. And as soon as I got done with Georgia, it was like on to Palm Beach. So we had an event at Mar-a-Lago. I had back-to-back events at Mar-a-Lago in 1 week.
That's right. You're a big wig. You get to go to Mar-a-Lago. I forgot about that. You're up there with the big dogs. You're up there like shaking. You're like 1 degree away from Trump, aren't you?
No. Listen, no. I was obligated to go because of the, organization purchased tables, and so we had to go. But it was fun. I loved it. I used that time to really, we stayed at a really, really nice resort, and man, I just I vegged out in that hotel. I didn't even want to leave the hotel, only when I had to leave the hotel, but literally slept with my sliding door open. Because our boss got us ocean view. So I could just hear the ocean wave.
Ocean, yeah.
Through the night when I woke up, going to bed. It was the most relaxing trip. And then I come back for only a couple of days, and I'm like, my kids are like, it's Christmas. Are you going to decorate it all? Because you've been gone. I literally threw up a little tree, and I said,
a little tree.
And they're like, normally I have 7 trees. My house is like fully decorated, top to bottom. And it was like, they're like, what happened to the house? And they're like,
what happened to your Christmas spirit, Mom?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, not happening this year. But it was fun, and I just got back. And then as soon as I did that, it was off to Arizona for 4 days. So I was exhausted. And I really needed to just come home and not answer phone calls, not do social media, not do anything. I've been watching Yellowstone. I watched all 4 seasons. Now I'm in the 5th season, obviously, of Yellowstone.
You weren't watching the news?
No.
See? I told you. That's what people binge, and they watch their series.
And not only that, listen, I got into the series Revenge from like 2014. There was 21 episodes in each season, and it had like, I don't even know, 7 seasons. I don't even remember.
Right.
Yeah, there was 88 episodes I watched in about a month.
Wow.
So I watched Revenge, and that's what I was like. I just wanted to disconnect from the world and watch something totally make believe, and just be left alone. And that's what I did, Quincy. That's what I did. And so then it was like January 2nd. Boss is like, back to reality, chick. And I'm like, no. So I've been like dragging. And he's like, get to work. And
get back on it.
So, so now it's like, okay, I guess it's time to get back to work. And good old Quincy, you got me okay, this is what we're going to do. So, so guys, listen, you Quincy, tell them where to find you again in case people tuned in late, because a lot of people tuned in later.
Once again, you guys can find me on every single platform: Rumble, Getter, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the BC Preacher, all one word, the BC Preacher. And if you're looking for me on Facebook and YouTube, take some time, be patient, and scroll and look for me, because I'm shadow banned really bad. So
cool. Very good. Very good. And for me, you guys know where to find me, Bianca for Texas, obviously on all platforms. Visit theamericaproject, obviously.com. Border911guys.com as well, being brought to you by the America Project. And of course, our Latinos for AmericaFirst.org. You can follow us, again, pretty much, it doesn't matter. I pretty much cross post everything on Bianca for Texas. So you'll find out what's going on, in my neck of the woods. But to get involved, please message BC Preacher here. Message Bianca for Texas. Let us know you want to get involved. There's 2 things I'm going to be doing this season, guys. And so if any of you want to help out, is legislative affairs. I want to affect policy in Arizona, Texas, and Florida. I want to go and testify on bills. Guys, we got to go knocking on these legislators' doors. I want to go to Washington, D.C., knock on the doors of our legislators and talk to them, have conversations with them, and talk to them about what's really important to us, as constituents, what we expect of them. And that way we can say we actually went there. Not on I don't want a tour. I don't want tours. I just want meetings. I want meetings. I want to talk about what's important and what's not important. That's one thing. And then the next thing is, obviously, Quincy, as we have talked about, we're going to have these events. Stay tuned, because we got to talk about what cities we're going to really do. We're going to narrow it down to 4 to 5 cities, and we're going to make it happen. We got to talk to the artists. We got to ask them for their schedules and see, who can come. They may not all be. It may not be the same 4 or 5 or 6.
Right.
In every event, but we will get it together. We're going to organize this, and that's what we're going to do, guys. So please, to get involved, again, reach out to me. And message me, send me a message on any of the social media platforms, or send me an email. You can find me again, Bianca for Texas, and let me know that you are in Arizona, or you're in Texas, or you're in Florida, or you're interested in going to DC to whether help our legislators testify at committees, or advocate for certain bills or whatever it is, guys. That's what we're going to do is legislative priorities, legislative affairs, what I call them, and some events that are going to be brought to you by the America Project. And Quincy is going to help me with it. So
I am.
we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. So listen, thank you so much, friend and brother in Christ, for joining me tonight on Stand Up, Stand Out America here. I'm so glad to be back. I had a very good audience. So Getter, thank you so much for showing me some love as I come back from my hiatus. And Facebook suppresses whatever, but I'm still live on there. But Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the same thing as well. But anyway, Quincy, we're going to be in touch. We're going to talk more often. Say hi to your wife for me. And blessings. Happy New Year to everybody.
All that good stuff.
In 2023, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what's coming up this year. I'm not going to try to completely overwork myself, right, and beat myself up. But we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun, and we're going to be productive. We're going to be productive this year. That's what I want to do. That's my little New Year's resolution: productivity. Affect policy, and in a mindful, strategic, good way.
Amen. Amen. Well, God bless you too, Bianca, and thank you for having me on. Honestly, it was fun.
I know. I told you. I was like,
you
I may have forgotten something. I don't know. Is there something I forgot? Is there a topic? I don't know. Quincy, did I forget anything? I mean,
no. I think we covered everything.
The thing is, those Biden documents found in his garage somewhere.
Oh yeah, I know. Ain't nothing going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. So
no, he didn't get rated. There's a like a double standard here,
of course.
I mean, he didn't get rated. Oops, we found these.
Yeah.
What do you do about it?
A mishap, nothing, just a slap on the wrist. No. He's a toddler. What do you do?
It's ridiculous. The double standard in this country, it's ridiculous. But that's why we need to be engaged, and we need to be talking to our elected officials, and we need to be holding them responsible, especially like what was done to us in Texas here. Is for them to show up and show out and run away from their offices. We only had, there's like 6 or 7 Republicans. I think it was 6. That's it. 6 that actually stayed with the grassroots that really wanted us to show up and said, you still show up. You still show up, even what they've done.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Pretty sad. But anyway, all right. Friend, peace out.
Peace out.
So listen, thank you so much, guys. Stay tuned next Friday. I will have someone from the new state of China that's going to be joining me. Yeah.
Nice.
Communism.
I'll be watching.
You watch.
I'll watch.
We'll be talking. Yeah. You know what? The Chinese want to start working with us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's exciting. So, all right.
God bless you.
Peace out.
All right, Bianca.